Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, your weekly dive into the Grand Line. We are breaking down One Piece Chapter 230, Hunt for the South Bird.
And what starts as a chapter of pure, joyous adventure takes a very sharp, very dark turn right at the end.
Oh, it's a gut punch, a super gut punch. We spend the whole chapter on this hilarious, chaotic hunt through the jungle, and then Oda reminds us that the world doesn't stop just because the Straw Hats are having a good time. Someone's dream is about to be trampled.
It's a masterful use of narrative juxtaposition. The higher the comedy, the deeper the tragedy feels when it strikes.
And it's coming. You can feel it in those last few pages. It's like a storm cloud on the horizon.
And if you believe that dreams are worth fighting for and you want to join us on this voyage every single week, you can chart your course to our channel. The subscribe button is your log post, and it will always point you right back here.
Well said. Let's get into it, because this chapter starts with one of my favorite kinds of scenes, the kind of scene that makes One Piece what it is.
The calm before the storm.
Exactly. We're back at Cricket's house. The whole crew is there, Masira and Shoujo too, and Cricket is just performing. He's not just reading from Noland's logbook, he's acting out the words, putting his entire soul into it.
It's a beautiful scene. Everyone is eating, listening, completely captivated. After the tension and cynicism of Mocktown, after the fight with Bellamy where Luffy took a beating without fighting back, this feels like a moment of true camaraderie and shared purpose. It feels earned.
It really does. Look at their faces. Luffy, Usopp, Chopper, they're just wide-eyed, completely engrossed in the story. Even Zoro, who usually looks half asleep, is paying attention. This is what it's all about. This is the heart of the adventure. Luffy isn't just looking for treasure. He's collecting people, collecting stories. And Cricket's story, Noland's story, is one of the most important ones he's heard yet.
Because it's a story about being ridiculed for a belief. It's the story of a dream that's been passed down for 400 years, surviving on nothing but faith and the words in a book. It directly parallels Luffy's own quest for the One Piece, which so many people in the world have dismissed as a fantasy.
And that's what makes the next moment so powerful. Cricket stops talking and says, "But it's not a fairy tale," and he pulls out the proof.
A dream that Cricket now has physical proof of. He shows them the gold.
And it's not just a pile of coins, not some generic treasure. Oda is so specific here. It's a bell-shaped ingot, the same bell shape from Noland's logbook. It's tangible evidence that everything Noland said was real. The City of Gold existed. The Shandorian Bell existed.
This is the moment the fairy tale becomes history. For Cricket, holding that gold is 10 years of his life vindicated. 10 years of diving, of sickness, of being called a fool by everyone on Jaya. It's all worth it in this one moment. And for the Straw Hats, it's confirmation that they are on the right path, that the romance of the Grand Line is real.
You can see it in Nami's eyes. Her whole body turns into a belly sign. But even for her, it's more than just the money. It's proof that the stories are true. And he's got 3 of them. That's not just a fluke. That's a pattern. And then he has Masira show them another piece they found. A gold statue shaped like a bird. A south bird.
The specific shape is an interesting choice. It's not just a generic bird. It's a clue hidden in plain sight. It's a piece of the puzzle that is both a treasure and a tool. Oda loves doing that, making the fantastical elements of his world serve a very practical, grounded purpose.
Which, of course, the Monkey Brothers completely forgot to explain the importance of. The absolute soul-leaving-the-body panic that sets in when they realize the Straw Hats don't know why that bird matters is just peak One Piece comedy. It's that perfect double take.
They just stare, horrified, and Cricket has to spell it out. They've explained the knock-up stream, this massive, explosive geyser that shoots up into the sky, but they left out the most crucial detail. It doesn't have a set location. It's a moving target.
And a log pose is useless. This is a great piece of world building right here. We as readers have been trained for 200 chapters to see the log pose as the ultimate unbreakable rule of Grand Line navigation. It's your lifeline. But here, Oda just casually breaks his own rule to introduce a new, bigger problem. The log pose points to the nearest magnetic field, the nearest island, but the knock-up stream is just a patch of chaotic ocean south of Jaya. There's nothing for a log pose to lock onto.
So you need a compass that doesn't rely on magnetism. You need a living compass, an animal whose entire biology is oriented towards a single constant direction.
The south bird, a creature whose head is biologically locked facing south. It's brilliant. It's one of those classic Oda world-building things, where the solution to an impossible problem is something completely absurd and natural at the same time. It feels like it could be a real animal from some forgotten explorer's journal. It's just so creative.
But there's a ticking clock. They have to find one tonight. The stream happens tomorrow morning. If they fail, they could be stuck here for a very long time, and the window of opportunity will be gone.
The scramble is on. Suddenly, this chill evening of storytelling and shared dreams turns into a mad dash into the jungle with bug nets. Everyone splits up into teams, and this is where the chapter just gets fun. The pacing is perfect. We go from quiet lore dump to high-stakes, high-energy comedy in the span of a few panels.
The teams themselves are revealing. Oda is very deliberate with his pairings here. Each group serves to highlight specific character traits and dynamics within the crew.
Let's break them down. First up, you've got Sanji, Nami, and Usopp. Predictably, it is absolute chaos.
The forest is full of giant, terrifying insects. We see centipedes the size of pythons, mantises that could take a person's head off. It's a callback to Little Garden, but this time they aren't just observing. They're in the thick of it.
And Nami and Sanji are losing their minds, completely, utterly terrified. Their faces are just these perfect Picasso paintings of fear. But Usopp is just vibing. He's totally fine. He's just like, oh yeah, giant bugs, cool. He's naming them, he's excited by them, it's amazing.
It's a great character moment for him. It shows that his cowardice is very specific. He's afraid of things that can definitively kill him in a fight, things he can't outsmart or lie his way out of. He's afraid of opponents who are overwhelmingly strong, like Arlong or Crocodile.
Right, a giant beetle isn't an opponent to him, it's just a weird creature. It doesn't have a bounty or a diabolical plan, so his brain doesn't register it as a mortal threat. It registers it as an interesting part of nature. He's an inventor, a tinkerer, a storyteller. This kind of bizarre wildlife is right up his alley. But a warlord, a fishman pirate, that's a different story. Here in the jungle, he's the brave one. It's a nice little reversal that gives him so much depth.
It also reinforces how much of a normal person Nami is, despite everything she's been through. She's faced down fishmen, she's sailed the Grand Line, she's incredibly resilient. But at her core, she's not a monster fighter. She's a navigator who's terrified of giant bugs. It's grounding, and it makes her more relatable.
And Sanji is just trying to protect her while also screaming in terror himself. It's a perfect blend of his two primary modes, chivalrous protector and shrieking coward. He's screaming, "Nami Swan!" while also looking like he's about to have a heart attack. It's pure gold.
Then you have the other team, Zoro and myself.
The quiet ones, the killers, the let's get this done crew. The impression I got is that you two don't seem to get along well, but I don't know if that's the right way to put it.
I wouldn't say we don't get along, we just operate on different frequencies. A giant insect appears, a creature of immense biological interest, and Zoro's immediate, only, and final response is to cut it in half.
No hesitation. Just problem, meet sword. He's not there to study the wildlife or appreciate the scenery. He's on a mission. The mission is find the bird. Anything that is not the bird and in the way is an obstacle. Obstacles get cut. End of story. His mind is a beautiful, simple, terrifying place.
And I am the opposite. My instinct is to observe, to understand. What is this creature? Why is it here? What is its role in this unique ecosystem? His instinct is to eliminate the obstacle. There's a fundamental difference in our approach to the unknown. I seek to catalog it. He seeks to conquer it.
It's not a conflict, it's just a lack of synergy. There's no goofy energy to bridge the gap like with the other teams. It's just two very serious people doing a job in two completely different ways side by side. It's almost like they're in two different manga. You've got your adventure archaeology story right next to your samurai action story, and they just happen to be sharing a panel.
We're both effective. The bugs are no longer a problem, but we aren't exactly bonding over it. It's a very transactional interaction. This dynamic is important, though. It reflects my status in the crew at this point. I am still an outsider, and Zoro, more than anyone else, is still deeply suspicious of me. He hasn't forgotten that I was on the other side in Alabasta. He's a pragmatist, but he doesn't trust easily.
That's a great point. He's the first mate, the protector. He's watching you. So this pairing isn't just a quiet team. It's the team with the most underlying tension. Which brings us to the final team, the pure chaos duo, the polar opposite of you and Zoro, Luffy and Chopper.
Who are not looking for the South Bird at all. They have completely abandoned the mission.
Not even a little bit. They are having the time of their lives. The mission was find the bird, and their brains immediately translated that to, ooh, a forest full of cool things. They've completely forgotten the mission because they found rare Hercules and Atlas beetles. They're trying to catch the king of the forest.
They're just two kids in a candy store. The wonder and excitement in Luffy is so pure. He's on a mission that could decide the fate of their entire journey to the sky, the culmination of this whole arc. And the coolest thing in the world to him in that moment is a giant bug. That is the essence of his character.
The journey is always more important than the destination. That's my captain, man. He never loses that sense of play. That's his strength. Most people would be stressed, focused, annoyed by the distractions. Luffy embraces them. The adventure isn't just getting to Skypiea, it's also catching the rhinoceros beetle on the way to Skypiea. And Chopper is right there with him, totally swept up in the fun. They are collecting, not hunting.
Until the actual target of their hunt decides to intervene. The South Bird appears, perched on a branch above them.
And it's a little jerk. It's got this smug look on its face. It lets out its signature South cry, and then it drops a giant hornet's nest right on top of them.
Which gives us that perfect image of Luffy and Chopper, eyes bulging, tongues out, sprinting for their lives from a massive swarm of angry hornets. It's a classic cartoonish chase scene, but it serves a narrative purpose.
It's hilarious. But think about what that means. The bird is smart. It's not just some dumb animal they have to catch. It saw them, it assessed the situation, and it actively decided to mess with them. It used the environment as a weapon. It's a trickster.
It's the guardian of the forest. It's not going to make it easy for them. This adds another layer to the challenge. They don't just have to find it, they have to outsmart it. It elevates the South Bird from a simple MacGuffin to an actual character, an antagonist in this mini-story.
And that's when Chopper, the animal expert, puts it together. He realizes the bird is doing this on purpose. He can communicate, in a sense, with its intent. And Luffy, finally shaking off the beetle mania, sees their target. The real hunt is about to begin.
And for a moment, you think that's where the chapter will end, on this comedic chase scene, setting up a funny conclusion for the next chapter. It's the perfect light-hearted cliffhanger.
You feel safe. The mood is light. The crew is on a wacky side quest. They're going to catch the bird and everything will be fine. But Oda pulls the rug out from under us. He yanks the emergency brake.
We cut back to Cricket's house. The lighting changes. The tone shifts instantly. It's quiet. Masira and Shoujo are there waiting. And then a new group arrives, casting long, ominous shadows.
Bellamy, the hyena, and his whole crew. My blood just boils seeing him again. After that disgusting display in the bar, after he beat up Luffy and Zoro for daring to have dreams, he's back.
He's back, and he is not there to talk about dreams. He's there to invalidate them.
He's there to steal the gold. Of course he is. That's all he sees. He doesn't see the history, the legacy, the proof of Noland's story, the vindication of Cricket's life. He just sees a pile of money that a fool dug up. It's the ultimate act of cynicism.
This is the ideological conflict of the arc, and it's about to come to a head in the most brutal way possible. Bellamy represents the new age of piracy he was bragging about. A cynical, brutal age where dreams are for children and only power, money, and tangible results matter. He is a dark reflection of what a pirate could be if they lose all sense of romance and adventure.
And Cricket is the living embodiment of the old age, the age of romance, of adventure, of chasing a story that everyone else says is a lie. For 10 years, he sacrificed his health, his reputation, his entire life for that dream. He's Noland's descendant, literally carrying the weight of that legacy.
And Bellamy has come to literally steal it from him. It's more than just robbery. It's an execution of an ideal. By taking the gold, Bellamy believes he is proving his philosophy is correct, that the dream was worthless and only the gold has value.
The worst part, the absolute most frustrating part, is that Luffy and the others aren't there. The cavalry isn't coming. The strongest fighters are scattered across the jungle, completely absorbed in their own mini-adventures, chasing a bird. The only ones left to defend 400 years of history are Cricket, Masira, and Shoju.
Who we know are strong in their own right. They're salvage experts, they've survived on the Grand Line. Cricket's a tough old man. But are they a match for a 55 million belly pirate crew led by a man with a dangerous paramecia fruit?
I don't think so. Not Bellamy's crew. Not with his spring fruit. This is really bad. It sets up such a horrible sense of dread. While our heroes are off on a gag adventure, something truly ugly and violent is about to happen to the friends they just made. The man who just shared his life story with them is about to be broken.
It's a classic ode to structure, and it's devastatingly effective, juxtaposing the lighthearted adventure with a dark, impending threat. It makes the threat feel that much more real and violating. The fun they're having feels tainted now because we know what's happening behind their backs.
It's going to be absolutely infuriating to see Bellamy, the man who mocks Noland's story as a fairy tale for idiots, stand in front of the man who has dedicated his life to proving it's true, and just take it all away with a smug grin on his face.
And that's the cliffhanger. The confrontation is about to begin, and our heroes are completely oblivious. A perfect, gut-wrenching end to the chapter that completely recontextualizes the entire story.
It's so good. Man, it really sets the stakes for what's coming. Luffy isn't just fighting for his own adventure anymore. He's not just going to the sky for the fun of it. Now, when he fights Bellamy, and you know he will, he's fighting for Cricket's dream too.
And for Noland's legacy. It all comes back to that 400-year-old story. The past is never truly past.
Which I guess is a good place to transition. We've talked about what happened. Now let's talk about what we think happens next. We've got some ideas.
We do. And if you have your own theory for how this confrontation at Cricket's house is going to play out, leave it for us in the comments. We read every single one.
Okay, prediction time. What do you think happens in 231? I'll go first. I have a feeling that is maybe a little controversial. I think we open right on the aftermath. I don't think we see the whole fight.
Interesting. You think Oda skips it entirely? That feels unlike him, especially with a villain he's been building up.
Not all of it, but I think we open with Masira and Shoju already defeated. They put up a hell of a fight. They wreck some of Bellamy's fodder, but Bellamy himself takes them out easily to show off his power. The chapter starts with Cricket, beaten but not broken, standing alone against Bellamy and his entire crew, the final stand. The chapter would be about their dialogue.
So the focus is on the conversation between them, the philosophical showdown, not just the physical one.
Exactly. Bellamy mocking him, calling him a pathetic dreamer, and Cricket, bloody and bruised, defending Noland's honor to his last breath. That's my first prediction. My second one, I think the Straw Hats hear the fight. Not Luffy, he's too far away and too distracted by the Hornets, but maybe the Nami, Usopp, Sanji team. They're closer to the coast. Maybe Usopp's sharp hearing picks up the sound of Bellamy's distinctive boing-boing powers, or the sound of the house being destroyed, and they realize they have to get back to the house now. The bird hunt is abandoned for them, and they start rushing back.
That would be a logical way to bring them back into the main plot and build tension. Okay, my turn. My first prediction is about what Bellamy does. I don't think he just takes the gold. That's too simple for him, too clean.
What do you mean? What else is there to do?
He needs to prove his point. He's not just a thief, he's an ideologue. He's not just going to steal the gold, he's going to destroy the dream itself. I predict he takes the gold, and then he and his crew completely and systematically destroy Cricket's house. They'll smash the logbooks, break the salvage equipment, tear up the maps, and burn it all to the ground. He wants to erase every last trace of the fairy tale.
Bro, that's dark. That's brutal, but it's exactly what he would do. You're right. He's not a thief. He's a vandal. He destroys things he doesn't understand because they threaten his worldview. That's terrifying.
Precisely. And my second prediction is a bit of a counter to yours. I don't think the Straw Hats will make it back in time.
At all? Not even Sanji's team?
Not in the next chapter. I think Oda will make us sit with the horror. He will show us the full, devastating confrontation. He'll show Cricket and the Monkey Brothers being utterly defeated. The chapter will end with Bellamy victorious, standing over the ruins of Cricket's home with the golden hand, laughing about how foolish streamers are. And then, the final panel, the final scene, will be a cutback to Luffy, miles away in the jungle, finally catching the South Bird. He'll be holding it up, cheering triumphantly, with no idea which has happened to his friend. The dramatic irony would be devastating.
Man, that would be a punch to the gut. That would be so much more painful than them hearing the fight. Ending on Luffy's personal victory, but we as the readers know it's a completely hollow one because of what he's about to find when he gets back. That feels very, very Oda. That feels right. It makes Luffy's eventual rage so much more justified.
We'll see who's right next week, but either way, it's clear that the time for games is over.
Can't wait. This is what it's all about. The calm, the storm, and the fight for a dream. Thanks for listening to Inherited Dawn. We'll see you next week for Chapter 231. Don't let the new age get you down.